Hello and welcome to the Safe4Life Everyday Self-Defense podcast. I'm so excited today to have my special guest, Shauna Marie McDonald, with us. Now, Shauna is a very, very spiritual, I find you very calm and centered and just filled with all kinds of positive and just huge radiant energy. You're just it's like walking into a room with the whitest healing, most generous light when I'm around you, Shauna. And I love being beside you because I feel like I'm lit up and filled up. So thank you for being here today. I'm excited to have you. So Shauna, I'm going to, for the most part, get you to introduce yourself. You've sent me a great bio. I'm just going to, if I could just suffice to say, you have a vast experience of travel and all kinds of healing and energy kind of work. In the last couple of years, you had the experience of supporting your ex-husband as he transitioned into the next sphere, and which is part of what your work is now. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And so, can you just tell us a little bit about that, Shauna? What it is, how you got to where you are, what brings you to this spot with your journey, and yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, I did some traveling. I needed some space between my life and my work, which was interior decorating. Not for any specific reason. It's just that I had always wanted to travel to Italy. And then I got a divorce, and so we never did. That was always a plan that we were going to do. So one day I woke up and I just knew it. I felt it. It was like an inner voice saying it's time to go. So I packed up, and within 5 weeks, I was gone to Italy and celebrating my birthday. That's what I wanted to do, celebrate my 49th birthday, looking at the hills of Tuscany. So it all sort of came in to perfect alignment. And spent 10 months there, and then I came back here, life goes on. And then Ron got sick. And although we weren't in a relationship so much, we were the parents of our 3 children. And so with his agreement, I sort of stepped back into a bit of a caregiver role, more for my kids with him so that I could support them. But it also helped us finish our story. Awesome. Because after a divorce, not that there was anything, there wasn't enough. And so our story was able to finish with respect and dignity. And that was thanks to him as well, because it took, I'm sure, a lot to have me back in his house. And what I was doing is I was basically cooking for the kids. He wasn't eating much, but cooking for the kids. That's where my love language came back in. And then I could support just him in general. So it was just nice to have that. And just before he passed away, we were having a conversation, not about this, but about our kids and about life and going forward, and him sort of wishing that he could be there for our last 2 girls' weddings and having babies. And then he said that cancer gave him more than it took.
Wow.
And it's just an amazing thing to say. So that led me on to this next journey. And so I started interviewing people and writing the book, Get Your Life Back After Cancer. Because although he passed away, he felt that the cancer had given him something extra, because he could have died of a heart attack and not had it. Not that anyone wants any of these things, but he found the purpose in his cancer. And so now I am teaching others to find that and to get to sort of ease the fear, because that's where we go, and find the joy and happiness in love. So it's a bridge, I guess, of sorts.
I love it. That's such an insightful and nurturing way to look at something that is often seen as horrible and awful and tearing apart. And your perspective of making it something that is that you grow from and heal from and evolve within. That's amazing. That's awesome. That's great.
I love it. And the people I've interviewed are remarkable,
That's great.
inspiring.
I love it. So, Shauna, my company is Safe4Life, personal safety training and self-defense. And so within that, we talk about the need for personal protection and empowerment and confidence and peace of mind from the perspective of a proactive approach, similar to the way that we put our seatbelt on when we first get into our vehicle. We're not going to prevent every car accident that's ever out there. We're not going to prevent somebody from running a red light. We're not going to prevent, the crazy drivers on the road, but we are arming ourselves in whatever way we can to be protected and to be safer than if we were doing nothing. And I approach self-defense and personal safety training the same way, as you know. And so it's about what are the practical everyday steps that we can do for ourselves on an ongoing basis so that we are protected and we do mitigate the risks. And so that said, you've traveled a lot, you've been to Europe, and I know that you love it there. Are there any best practices or strategies that you use on a regular basis in your life to keep yourself protected or keep yourself alert or aware of what some of the risks might be, some of the dangers or worries that you might have when you're coming and going in your daily life?
There are. But first, I just want to say the way you teach, Lorna, is not through fear.
Right.
Because
Thank you.
You have this joyous way about you. We've spent some time together in conference, but I do feel this protection, that you have this little protection, the big protection around you, but you don't use fear. I've never felt that, oh my God, I have to protect myself. It's more like, oh, I can put things in place. There's just a softness and ease. And I appreciate that because
well, thank you.
I'm dealing with fear, you're dealing with fear, but there's other ways to look at it than what we usually do. What I personally work with is I do a metta meditation every morning. And so metta has been known, and they've studied it, and they know that it sort of changes the brain and lowers the amygdala and eases things. And so I start off with myself, my family, my friends, and the world, etc. Is, may I be safe, may I be peaceful and happy.
Oh, I love that.
May I live with ease and grace. And I say that 3 times, and then I go through my family. But what it does is it makes me think about what's going on today. Where am I going to be today? And so that's my way of protection, which is just being alert.
Right. I love that. That's great. And kind of shifting your energy to one of protection and safety. Yeah, we're getting a little glare there, but shifting your energy to one of safety and protection rather than fear and worry, right? Which is beautiful, and what a great perspective. So with your meditation, we talk about having a safety plan, and so meaning. What is it that we would ever do if ever we were faced with a situation where we felt threatened, we were at risk, or there was a real, either we felt like there was a risk or there was a true risk. If somebody had attacked us, if somebody had said something to us or interfered with our space at all. Do you have a safety plan for any of that, Shauna? What would you do in that situation?
I don't have a set out safety plan, and it's good to think about it. I'm conscious of where I'm going. If I'm going into an underground garage or even coming into my garage, that before I close the door, I make sure there's no one in there.
Awesome.
And I lock my doors, check things at night. So maybe it's more preventative, but I like the idea of actually setting something up so that I can go through it and not. Well, there's nothing worse than feeling that you're not safe and then knowing you haven't done anything about it ahead of time. Yeah. So I like
Awesome.
that idea.
That's good. Have you ever had a situation where you felt threatened, or where you felt you could be in danger, or you felt that an environment that you were in could go south? And what did you, if you have been, and what did you do about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was fear that came up yesterday. Actually, I'm selling my house, so I'm selling some things from my house and through Facebook Marketplace, which I feel safer with it. I can see the people's background or their profile. But yesterday, when the gentleman got out of his car, he was coming to look at a dresser, I felt fear. So instantly, I thought, text your friend who lives next door and let him know. So I did that. And the man was perfectly safe. Yes. I was not in any danger at all. He didn't even come in. He just stood back. He was very respectful. But next time I would make sure that I've done this ahead of time, or have him come over when someone's coming into the house, and he'd be happy to do that. So that was a good lesson for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, great lesson.
That's a great example, Shauna. And a great strategy when you are selling things online is definitely let somebody know. I've got somebody coming, they're going to be here at 4:00, just a heads up on this. And your neighbor's perfect. I mean, if there's if they can be there with you, or certainly be looking out the window if they're across the street, or that's a great strategy right there. That's awesome.
And I have a church quite close to me, just away. So what I've done in the past is I've just met them there with the items, the smaller items.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something to put into place.
Yeah, that's great. And that's that right there, Shauna, that's a safety plan, right? Not letting somebody know where you live, and putting strategies in place so that they don't have to come into your space to look around and see what else you've got in there. That's always a risk, right? And it happens so often. Somebody's selling something, a prospective buyer comes over, and before you know it, it's or they come back at a different time. So good for you. I'm glad that you've got a strategy in place. So we're just here really quickly, almost at the end of our time, Shauna. But I've got a couple of really quick little questions for you, if we could, and then I'll ask you if you have anything that you want to share with the audience in terms of a freebie or a promo, or just even your website or whatever. So, Shauna, what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading Maxwell Maltz Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh, wow, that sounds deep.
It's not actually that deep, but I like that way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's strategies and things to do. So it just
that's cool.
Starting the year.
Good for you. That's good. And one more question. If everyone did blank, the world would be a safer place.
If they had said one gratitude a day.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Setting the intention and being grateful. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, Shauna, thank you for this. Tell us your website. Tell us your information. If you have anything, that's perfect timing. If you have anything that you want to share with our people today, and again, we'd like to know how to contact you.
Okay, it's shaunamarie.ca, so SHAUNAMARIE.ca. And on there, I have 5 tips for alleviating fear. Just a little download and get some ideas of how to soften that fear. Not so much release it, but add something on top. And then the fear it sort of dilutes.
That's amazing. Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you, Lorna.
You've been a treat for me today on this frosty day in Calgary.
It is, but sunny.
It's sunny. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Have yourself a great day, Shauna.
Thanks.
And stay safe.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.